This one's for all you guys that hate your opponents. I am going to show you solitaire.deck. So starting off...
He means darkworld.
Starting off in the main deck, triple darkworld Gento. This is the new best card in the deck. You discard him, and he searches for the field spell. He simultaneously gives you one of your better starters and gives you fodder for said starter. Then the other best card is Rainbow. This guy just, every time you discard him, he searches for a guy, and he gets to keep bouncing guys off your field to put himself back on the field and put them back in your hand. And then Grappa does the same thing, but he doesn't search when he's discarded. But you need him because of his name, and he's another guy to search off of the Rainbow. Then also Snow. Kind of same thing as this guy, but it can't recur itself. But Snow searches any card in the deck, not just level 5 or higher Dark Worlds. So it gets you like the spells, or it can get you to a Rainbow to loop advantage over and over. It can also search itself. Next Dark World is Silva. This is what makes it a solitaire deck. You give your opponent a guy that says discard a card. You discard him, and because he was discarded by an opponent's effect, your opponent puts 2 cards from their hand back to the deck. Fun. Hand looping.
It's not once per turn.
Nothing in this deck is once per turn, swear to God. Brow, he's a...
Draw 1.
Extra, yeah, he's like an upstart that is a monster.
Or Pot of Grief if discarded by your opponent.
Yeah. Then Ceruli, this is the guy that says discard, or you discard him, then he summons himself to your opponent's field, then he mandatorily activates to make your opponent discard a card, which makes you discard a card, and then that triggers your Dark World's extra effects. And that's all of the Dark Worlds in the deck.
Now for the side.
Yeah, then we're going to Dangers.
The side characters.
Yeah, so Danger Nessie, best Danger. Even if you miss, you just get another Danger. Then Chupacabra is especially good in this deck because he's a fiend, so you can discard him for your field spell, and then that triggers his effect. He's also level 4, which is important for the extra deck. Mothman is generally your second best Danger, third best Danger, I guess. But he's, again, level 4, which is important for the extra deck. And his effect helps you cycle, and if you miss and hit him, you get to draw a card, then you can discard a Dark World and get its effect. Then Bigfoot, you want level 8s for, again, the extra deck, but I like him better than Thunderbird because he's bigger, and popping face-ups is generally more useful than popping face-downs. Then playing Jackalope and Tsuchinoko, just because they're like generic good things to hit for free link fodder. And then Jackalope helps get you into more 4s if you hit it. Then for normal summons, I'm doing Double Votus. I haven't played around with this a whole lot yet, but in theory it seems good. You normal summon him, then you excavate the top 3 cards of your deck, and you banish a monster, and then add a monster with the same name from the cards you excavated or from your deck. So say you excavate 3 and you hit one of these guys, you get to banish him and search one, and that helps get your combos started. And then last monster in the deck is Zephyros. He's a 4 that lets you recur your field spell, and yeah, that's it.
Just another extender.
Yep, more generic, good dark stuff. Then best card in the deck is Gates of the Dark World. Getting Genta to search this gives you the guy in grave. All you need is a fiend in hand. You get to banish him, discard, draw 1, trigger your discard effect, and then he gets to summon back because this is a Dark World card and he was banished. So that's why this is good. I'm doing Double Fusion Spell. It's really nice to open it because then you get to use your Snow Search on something more fun, like, more Dark World stuff instead of, Then the last Dark World card is Dark World Archives. This gives you an extra way to dig for more cards. Anytime a Dark World monster is discarded by a Dark World effect or by your opponent's effect, you get to discard a card and draw 2. So that also triggers your Dark World effects and helps, again, just dig for more cards. which that's the whole point of the deck, is you're digging to essentially FTK your opponent. Speaking of digging, Allure of Darkness, everything's dark, so just draw 2. Then Card Destruction. This triggers all of your Dark World effects and danger effects, and generally it's going to helping you a lot more than it's helping your opponent. Then 1 Triple Tactics Talent and 1 Triple Tactics Thrust. This could easily just be another Thrust or another Talents, or it could just be like a 3rd Fotis or like an extra Dark World name. Not really necessary. It's just nice to see, because generally this is just getting you to this. But the cool thing with these cards is the Ceruli triggers on your opponent's field. It counts as them activating an effect. So once you give them Ceruli, you can thrust into a talent, and then you can look at their hand and rip the last card, because Silva has to rip exactly 2. So since they start with 5, you can't hit it all, so this lets you hit the last card out. Or, alternatively, like if you get ashed early on, you can talents into drawing extra cards to help dig. So that's the main deck. For the extra deck, Double Grapha. This really isn't probably as important now that Kashtira doesn't have the Diablosis, and you're not playing hand traps, so they're probably not going to unicorn one of these out of your extra deck. So this could probably just be another utility link or something, but yeah. Then Dugaris, this is why you need 4s. This guy lets you draw 2 and discard 1, which, you dig and you trigger a Dark World effect, so a lot of the time you're going like +2, +3 off of this. The other Xyz is Hope Harbinger. Honestly, this probably isn't necessary. You're ending on a board with multiple negates while your opponent has no cards. So realistically, this should probably just be a Coach King Giant Trainer to help dig for more cards. But that's what we got for now. Then on to Links. Muckraker. This card is very, 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 very good. It triggers Dark World effects, helps you extend when you get stopped. It's generic. It just requires 2 effect monsters. They don't have to be fiends or anything. You just have to remember it locks you into fiends for the rest of the turn, and you can't use this as link material the turn that you summon it. Then for more, because you get fiend locked, I'm doing a bunch of nightmares. Good for link climbing and breaking boards. Cross Sheep, this is pretty good because you have the Grapha fusion. So this helps you bring back, like you can recur a Snow, and then you can Rainbow, bounce it back to your hand, and trigger it again later. This is probably not necessary, but I think it's cool. Then we have Security Dragon and Akashic Magician. These are how you hand loop your opponent, because you give them the Ceruli, and then these guys let you bounce it back to your hand to use it again. Then for higher links, Unicorn, again, it's a fiend. Then same with Griffin, it's a fiend. And then ending, like if you get stopped, ending on Muckraker pointing to Griffin makes it so any special summon monster that's not linked can't activate its effect. So this can be a nice lock in the event that you can't actually fully hand loop your opponent. Saryuja, this is to dig for more cards. Yeah, cards busted. Then Appaloosa, this is what you're typically trying to end on or make early enough in the combo that you can't get, like Nibiru. Yeah, like just generic link stuff. And then for breaking boards, Underworld Goddess, this helps you out things that are unaffected. Otherwise you can't really get over them because we're not playing access code. Even though you probably could just play access code over this, but I think this is funny. But yeah, that's the deck. Thanks.